Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I am Jason Whitlock, your host, your Jolly Green Giant today with my beard. I tried to shape up my beard this morning. Anyway, happy Monday to you and yours. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have much to discuss, including Shedeur Sanders morphing into becoming, he's well on his way to becoming the next Tim Tebow. We're going to start there with the Tebowification of Shedeur Sanders. Then we'll move into some Bill Belichick talk. His girlfriend is back in the news cycle. And then we'll move into some As the WNBA Turns, as I've got a take on Angel Reese that's surely going to trigger some folks. I'll mix it in with a little bit of a take on the Indiana Fever and them winning, but I'm mostly going to stick to a take on Angel Reese that's going to significantly trigger people. And then we'll call it a show. Steve Kim's going to join me. I'll be on the Harmony channel with Delano and Shamika talking about, why have I've forgotten what me and Delano and Shamika are talking about. It's the notes here in front of me are written. Oh, David Justice, former Major League Baseball player that was married to Halle Berry, and he started talking about why he wanted a divorce or get away from Halle Berry, and some people were upset about it. Like, how dare this guy say he wanted to get away from Halle? Anyway, we'll discuss that on the Harmony channel. Fantastic show. Playing for you today. You guys know I love talking about the Sanders family, Colonel Sanders, Deion Sanders, Primetime Sanders, Shedeur Sanders, legendary performance as a rookie or in the preseason game. I'll do that in a second, but before I do anything, I want to thank our friends at Relief Factor for making today's show possible and making my workout this morning possible. And yes, I got in 25 minutes of cardio this morning before coming here on my Stairmaster. It was awesome, and the reason I can do it is because Relief Factor is part of my daily routine. It helps me fight inflammation and the aches and pains that have many of you thinking you're experiencing the same thing, but have many of you thinking there's nothing you can do about it. Well, yes, there is. Relief Factor. It's a 100% daily supplement, drug-free supplement that fights inflammation, which is the cause of those aches and pains that are compromising your life. I use Relief Factor every day. As I've shared with you all, my good friend Jeffrey Steele, who's older than me, bikes 30 miles every morning. He uses Relief Factor, and that's why he's able to bike 30 miles every single morning. If you're tired of dealing with those aches and pains and feeling like, hey, man, I can't do what I used to, you need to give Relief Factor's 3-week quick start a try. The 3-week quick start is just $19.95, and 70% of the people that try the 3-week quick start find out that, hey, Relief Factor is working for me and works for me, and they circle back and re-up. Just $20. $20 to find out if you can relieve those aches and pains that are compromising your life. Take the challenge. Drop $20 on Relief Factor. Do it by visiting relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. All right, let's get into it. Shedeur Sanders set the world on fire Friday night. Oh, we haven't seen anything like what Shedeur Sanders did and does. And he's football Jesus. I mean, it was absolutely incredible what Shedeur Sanders did against the Carolina Panthers, one of the worst teams in the National Football League, in an exhibition game. Shedeur threw for 2 touchdowns. He threw for 130 some odd yards. I looked out there and I was like, oh, this is Peyton Manning all over again. How about Shedeur Sanders? And so did everyone else. Everyone else saw what I saw, this amazing performance from this 5th-round quarterback who everybody said was being set up for failure. Instead, he put on his Superman cape, went out there against the second and third teamers against Carolina and lit the world on fire. It was amazing. Let's play, I just want to give you a taste of all the people that are determined to turn Shedeur Sanders into Tim Tebow. I want to start, there's a rapper, you guys remember Luther Campbell. There's a rapper, Luther Campbell, down in Florida, who's friends with Dion. You guys remember Uncle Luke. Let's play shot number 2 as in the aftermath of Shedeur's incredible performance. Luther Campbell taped this video mocking teams for not drafting, mocking Tom Brady. Let's play the clip.
All right, let me talk about this Shedeur Sanders situation now that he's played a football game with no reps. The backups against Carolina first team. So, if it wasn't collusion, if it wasn't a conspiracy, then that means 144 owners, general managers, presidents, director of player personnel, scouts. All y'all some dumb motherfuckers. All y'all some dumb motherfuckers. Hold on. It gets better. Including the GOAT, Tom Brady. Well, Tom, you may have been the GOAT on the field, but don't be like Jeter. Don't be like MJ. You got to be a GOAT as an executive. Right now, it's not looking good.
I mean, what better source than Luther Campbell, Uncle Luke? And yes, Uncle Luke coaches a lot of Pee-wee football down in Florida, but his real calling is a quarterback evaluator, and he's seen enough after just one exhibition game. He's seen enough to know that, and Luke's not good with math. They did a lot of drinking and partying during the 2 Live Crew era. There aren't 144 owners. Shedeur was the 144th pick. There are 31 NFL owners and 32 NFL franchises. And his argument is even Jimmy Haslam and the Browns who drafted Shedeur Sanders, he's including them in that bundle of dumb owners. Even the owner that drafted Shedeur is an idiot and is worthy of being mocked. But there's not 144 owners. There's 31. And there's only one of them drafted Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round. And he says the general manager did, but his organization did after they had already selected a quarterback. And now there are people saying, well, you got to move Shedeur up the depth chart. He was number 4, and he had no reps. He had no reps with, all the excuse. Let me play another. Skip Bayless, who's always looking for traction and relevance and an opportunity to suck up to Deion Sanders. Skip Bayless had his take on Shedeur Sanders' incredible performance in the preseason against the Carolina Panthers. Play the clip.
Tonight, Shedeur Sanders made the entire National Football League look like a whole bunch of petty fools, in some cases, racist fools, in many cases, Deion despising fools. Tonight at Carolina, Shedeur Sanders made all those teams that had 143 chances to draft him before he went 144th. He shamed all of them, including the Cleveland Browns, who finally took him in the 5th round. I'm convinced only because the owner, the publicity-starved owner, just wanted some more shock value publicity. Oh, we took him because he knew what would happen, that the national media would descend on Browns camp.
The owners, they're all idiots, and they've all been proven wrong after one exhibition game. There's never been a rookie quarterback throw for 130 yards and 2 TDs in an exhibition game. No one's ever done it. And anybody that has done it has immediately gone on to a Pro Bowl level career, to a Hall of Fame level career. Anybody that plays good or puts up a decent performance in an exhibition game at the quarterback position, it automatically means, well, this guy can write his own ticket. He's the second coming of Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, and everybody looks like fools. So we got Skip Bayless. We got a rapper. Let's go to Hollywood and the acting world. Let's hear from Jamie Foxx. Let's play shot number 5, him declaring that if you hate Shedeur, you hate football. Play the clip.
I hear what all y'all saying. My name is Willie B, man. Hey, he the real deal. Real deal. That's coming from Willie. That's coming from Willie. Hey, now how y'all feel now? How y'all feel now? No matter what he do, how you feel now? That man playing for his daddy. All you haters, if you hate Shedeur, you hate football. How can you not love that story? Deion, that's straight for 51st at Hoover. Sad and homie. Big time. Deion Sanders, we love you.
How do you not love that story? Shedeur Sanders grew up a silver spoon kid, pampered and catered to his whole football career. His daddy coached him from Pee-wee all the way through college. How can you not love that story? Shedeur is an underdog. He was deprived of everything. He grew up in abject poverty. No one cared about Shedeur. The whole racist system has been against Shedeur. He missed so many meals as a kid. He was wrongly incarcerated. He was part of the Central Park Five. Shedeur is an underdog story. Yes, his daddy's been a multimillionaire athlete. Yes, the people that Deion and his groupies are calling racist are the very people that made Deion a multimillionaire and pandered and catered to him throughout his entire NFL career. Yes, those are the racists that stopped Shedeur Sanders or tried to stop Shedeur Sanders. Man, you can't. This is why no one at this point should care what the media thinks, should care what Hollywood thinks, should care what black racial idolaters think. There's no satisfying them. If professional sports makes your daddy a multimillionaire and one of the most popular and powerful people in all of sports, you can still claim victimhood. You can still pretend like the very system that created you and rewarded you is out to get you. The NFL is not the enemy of Deion Sanders. Now let's hear from a football player, someone that actually would play against a Shedeur Sanders or a Deion Sanders, who's now a broadcaster, and Emmanuel Acho. He took to his cell phone to celebrate Shedeur and talk about how Shedeur's amazing, incredible performance against the Carolina Panthers in an exhibition game unequivocally proves he should have been a first-round pick. Play Emmanuel Acho.
Can Shedeur Sanders play football in the NFL? Well, let's find out together. No more opinions. Let's talk to the tape. It's 3rd and 9. They're going to come with the 5-man pressure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-man pressure. They're going to play man across the board. Hey, if defense is playing man-to-man, they're turning their back. Shedeur Sanders, he identifies the defense is in man-to-man coverage, so nobody is watching him. He also identifies the defense does not have contain. He escapes out the pocket. On 3rd and 9, he picks up the first down. He slides down to safety. Check for Shedeur Sanders. Let's keep it rolling. All right, here's what I love. Here's what I love. You see condensed splits by the Cleveland Browns. Both the receivers are inside the numbers, so they're probably going to want to work outside. Shedeur, you got to identify. Are they in man on defense or are they in zone? Last second, this cornerback, he backpedals, and you can quickly, pretty fairly on tell, okay, they're inside of a pattern match zone. Shedeur, he's going right here with the football, but here is what you have to understand. If this defensive back has eyes on Shedeur and he drops off too quickly, this can be a pick. This can be going the other way. So Shedeur, he gets the ball out of his hands, but the accuracy of this football between not one but two defenders and a fully outstretched defender, pinpoint perfect. The accuracy of that ball, pinpoint perfect. Can Shedeur Sanders play football in the NFL again? We finding out together. Fans are excited. And there it is. Bang. We've been waiting on the moment. We got to get a watch on the wrist instead of a wristband. Bang. We've been waiting on the moment. Let's keep it rolling. But in all honesty, this play is why Shedeur Sanders should have gotten in the first round. You're going to see his touch. You're going to see his ability to keep his eyes downfield, even when there's a rush. You got 5 receivers wide. That makes the defense show their hand. Okay, I can tell. They're just in a 4-man rush, probably playing cover 4 behind it. It's going to be basic. Shedeur Sanders, don't pressure. Don't get frazzled. Eyes downfield. Here's what I love. Eyes, whole time, downfield. Keep watching it. Even defenders in his face. Eyes, downfield. Watch as he starts to scramble. Eyes, downfield. The whole time, eyes, downfield. Watch him direct that quick subtle point with his left hand, and then now defender rushing to him, but watch it. Bang. I mean, that ball, though. Take another look at it. 5 receivers wide. You know it's a 4-man rush. Defense, they have to show their hand. Just watch Shedeur. Eyes downfield the whole time. Just watch his eyes. Watch his eyes. Watch his eyes. Watch his eyes. Boom. And then watch that ball. Throw it where only your receiver can catch it. Can Shedeur play football in the NFL? Well, we kind of found out. Sure looks like it. Ready, break.
In the history of NFL drafts, has there ever been anyone drafted that people didn't think, at least somebody thought, hey, this person could play in the NFL? Why else would you draft them? Why else would you draft? The Browns clearly say, hey, we think we can play in the NFL. There's never been anyone who didn't think Shedeur could play in the NFL. No one. He had a very good career at Colorado. He was, I think, 2nd or 3rd team All-American. He was a 5th-round draft pick, the 144th best prospect, according to the draft, in this year's draft. People thought he could play in the NFL. People are so lowering the bar that Emmanuel Acho is looking at routine plays that we saw throughout the preseason from an entire group of quarterbacks and pretending like, well, we've never seen this before, or pretending that no one thought Shedeur could complete a single pass, let alone a touchdown pass, in an NFL preseason game. We're watching, as it relates to Acho, I'll even throw Skip Bayless in this category, but I'll throw them all. Jamie Foxx, Skip Bayless, Luther Campbell, they're all acting as if they've never seen football or evaluated a quarterback. They've never seen it before. All kinds of quarterbacks complete passes in the preseason and in the regular season. All kinds of quarterbacks have good games. But can they sustain it? Can they walk that tightrope for a season, a full game, a career? Nothing got settled on Friday other than people raising their hands. Hey, I'm a Shedeur groupie. I'm going to treat him like a high school cheerleader, and I'm a 16-year-old boy that's horny, and I'm just going to say and tell her anything she wants to hear. That's what we're watching grown men. Emmanuel Acho is the youngest guy of all the people I show. Jamie Foxx is in his 50s. Luther Campbell's in his 50s, if not 60. Skip Bayless is in his 70s. Emmanuel Acho, maybe late 30s, early 40s. I'm not sure. These are grown men acting like little children, pretending like, oh, Shedeur has proven something. And let's check in with their ringleader. And trust me, I have great sympathy for Deion Sanders, what he overcame this offseason. I'm actually, and you're not going to believe this, but it's the truth, I'm actually rooting for Colorado this season. I want Deion to experience success. I think that'll keep him positive as he continues his fight with cancer. But as it relates to Shedeur and the techniques and the discipleship that put Shedeur in this position, where he's a fifth-round pick when he probably had second or third-round talent. This is bad discipleship, bad mentoring, bad coaching by Deion. Shedeur talked his way or behaved his way into the fifth round, and everybody knows it. This isn't some racist conspiracy. This is some delusional athlete who thinks he's got transcendent generational talent like his father, and he doesn't. And he carried himself throughout the pre-draft process like a jerk, an entitled jerk. And people are like, hey, I don't want to be bothered with it. And they certainly don't want to be bothered with this circus that comes along with Shedeur. It's almost like I'm looking at men that say they love Shedeur, but they're actually trying to kill his career in the womb. Because all of this conversation and talk of Shedeur, it doesn't serve Shedeur. It doesn't serve the locker room chemistry in Cleveland. It's not what should be going on. But the ringleader of that circus is none other than Deion Sanders. Let's hear from Deion pregame, before Shedeur's slightly above average performance in his first preseason game. Play the clip.
It's already spoken like 3 times a day. We just got off the phone joking and clowning like crazy. It's going to be strange for both of us. I was in the hospital the last time. I missed, I think, 3 games, but this time I'm well. But, you know, me going out there taking that walk and him taking that walk, and he know I'm not there. That's different. That's different for him. So, but he's so prepared right now. A lot of people are approaching it like a preseason game. He's approaching it like a game. And that's how he's always approached everything, to prepare and to approach it like this is it. He's thankful and appreciative of the opportunity. He don't get caught up in, you know, all the rhetoric in the media. He's far beyond that. He was coached through that when he was a kid. So we've always gone through that, and he's always navigated his way. Some of the stuff is just ignorant. Some of it is really adolescent, but he's far surpasses that, and I can't wait to see him play. I can't wait to see Jimmy play. You know, I can't wait to see Shiloh play on Saturday. I can't wait to see Will play, Travis, and Cam and BJ. Did I get them all? Xavier, yeah. I can't wait. I'm like a kid in the candy shop. It's like your babies out there that you cut the umbilical cord. Now they doing their thing. I just can't wait to see him get down tonight. But it's going to be a little weird. It's going to be a little strange. It really is. I got to admit that. But I'm praying for him, and God has set him up and placed him in the perfect position that he needs to be in.
The more Deion talks, the more pressure and attention goes on his son. The more unneeded hype goes on his son. When you talk about who is really setting Shedeur Sanders up for failure, it's Deion and the collection of groupies celebrating him. I want to reference Mary Kay Cabot covers the Cleveland Browns and has for 20 some odd years. And she wrote a piece that Joe Thomas referenced where she walked people through. And again, this isn't stuff she's pulling out of her rear end. She's got sources within the Cleveland Browns organization, sources on the coaching staff, where she wrote and walked people through what the process has been like for Shedeur Sanders. Let me share that with you. So why, she goes into why Shedeur hasn't been getting first team reps. So why hasn't he gotten any first team reps? Because he's had to get up to speed in all aspects of the pre-snap process, including relaying plays in the huddle, identifying the defense, sliding the protections, directing the motions, and making adjustments. From snap to throw, he's mostly been dynamite, save for the times he's reverted to the habit of retreating under duress and taking would-be sacks. In fact, he's drifted less during the 11-on-11s than on 7-on-7s, which speaks to the gamer in him. At times during minicamp and training camp, Sanders worked with the third and fourth teamers on the opposite field while the other three quarterbacks worked with the ones and twos installing the new offense. During some of those times, Stefanski, who is the head coach, stood directly behind Sanders, listening to him calling the play, engaging his vision. It's rare in camp for a head coach to spend so much time with the fourth-string quarterback, but the Browns have felt from the jump that Sanders was worth developing. The fact that Sanders had to catch up on the terminology, calling complex plays, and other pre-snap procedures is not an indictment on his football acumen, which is extremely high. It's just that he hadn't done it to the extent that Dillon Gabriel had during his 6 years in college football. While Sanders has had 6 offensive coordinators, the scheme, terminology, and concepts weren't necessarily overhauled by all of them. Let me translate that for you. What she's reporting is the Browns have placed training wheels on Shedeur Sanders. That the fact that he's only played for his dad and only played in an offense that his dad approves of actually gave Shedeur arrested development at the quarterback position. And so in terms of terminology, pre-snap reads, making pass protection adjustments and all that, Shedeur is actually behind his peers because he's only played for his dad. And he's basically only played one style of offense. And so they put training wheels on Shedeur. The Browns aren't setting up Shedeur Sanders for failure. They're bending over backwards trying to prevent his failure, because if he fails, Dion and the groupies are going to label the Browns as racist and incompetent. So now we have a quarterback, and trust me, the 53 guys that'll make that roster, the 85, how many ever guys are in training camp right now, they see clear as day, well, we got training wheels on someone. So we got a quarterback, a fifth-round quarterback, that's getting more attention, more individual attention from the head coach in the organization than virtually everybody else. Because he's unprepared. And his lack of preparation showed up at the combine and all the pre-draft conversations. And people were afraid of him because they knew it would take the kind of effort the Browns are putting in, and they knew the risk if it didn't work. And they just say, hey, it ain't worth it. We got to bend over backwards, and even if we do bend over backwards, we're still going to get dumped on if this kid fails. How else would you not reach that conclusion? The NFL bent over backwards for Deion Sanders his entire career. And he still fans the flame that the NFL, the league that made him a multimillionaire, the league that pandered to him the most, is evil and racist, and everybody's incompetent. They're Tebowing Shedeur Sanders. They're creating a circus around him. They're making the stakes so high. Good luck, Kevin Stefanski. Good luck, Andrew Berry. Good luck, Jimmy Haslam. Good luck, Myles Garrett, and anybody else on that team. You're going, come hell or high water, this groupie fan base and Deion Sanders are going to point a finger of blame at any and everybody in the Browns organization if Shedeur Sanders doesn't become some superstar quarterback in the Browns organization. Let's check in with Twitter, and I'm just going to rattle off the names of all the people or some of the people on X that are contributing to the circus around Shedeur Sanders, including LeBron James. And here's LeBron, and I don't want to hear that it's only preseason BS. Because if he was out there not going in, y'all would be on his ass about it. So give credit and grace, lames. Oh, LeBron James again. That young, looking good out there. Shedeur Sanders, keep going up, head down on the grind, and head high to the Most High. Fast forward to Ryan Clark. I got to hear what he said. I got to read. Fast forward to Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark. Well, at least Andrew Berry gets to take credit for the Shedeur Sanders pick all by himself because it was made clear the owner wanted nothing to do with it. Emmitt Smith chimed in. Don Staley, the head basketball coach of the South Carolina women's basketball team. Super happy for Shedeur Sanders. You can try to break a young fella's spirit, but you can't touch his talent. Do the damn thing, Shedeur. Someone walk me through the importance of Shedeur Sanders. Is he Nelson Mandela? What is Shedeur? Shedeur Sanders is like a bad rapper. I mean, a really bad rapper that plays quarterback and taunts people by pointing to an overpriced watch. What does he represent that's so important? Oh, is he a nut? Oh, you know what he is? Ryan Clark just phoned in. Shedeur Sanders is the first unapologetically, authentically black quarterback from a rich black father to ever play in the NFL. That's what separates him from, and that's why he's important. Because he's unapologetically black, he has a rich dad, he's a narcissist, and he taunts people. That's unapologetic blackness that the NFL is afraid of. They're afraid of Deion Sanders. Yes, they gave Deion millions of dollars, but they're afraid of Deion. Don't you know that white NFL owners are like, oh, Lordy, Deion Sanders. This is... Here are the other rookie quarterbacks that performed this weekend. Jackson Dart, 12 of 19, 154 yards, 1 TD, no interceptions. No one's talking about Jackson Dart. He doesn't represent. Tyler Schaaf, 15 of 22, 165 yards, TD and an interception. Interesting. I saw, this guy isn't a rookie, but there's some dude that I had never heard of named Easton Stick. He played quarterback at North Dakota State. I think he graduated in 2018, 2019. He threw for 160 yards this weekend. Completed like 15 of 19 passes for Atlanta, a TD. No one cares because it's the preseason. There was no one that thought Shedeur said, oh, he can't complete passes in an NFL preseason game. No one, he can complete passes in an NFL regular season game. Is he worth the headache? Is he worth the circus that comes along with him? Will he be a distraction to the Cleveland Browns? Cleveland Browns, I hope they enjoy the circus. And I hope I'm proven wrong and Shedeur Sanders is the second coming of Warren Moon. I doubt it. What I saw, and we'll land the plane here and bring in Steve Kim. What I saw on Friday was like, okay, Shedeur Sanders' ceiling is right where I think Aaron Brooks, if anybody remembers Aaron Brooks, he started at quarterback for the New Orleans Saints for 5 years. Aaron Brooks was the 131st pick, I believe, in the 1999 draft. He had a good little run. He had a 7-year career. I think he ended in Oakland, the final season in Oakland, or with the Raiders, wherever they were located at that time. That's his ceiling. If Shedeur reaches his full potential, he'll be a starter for some franchise and have a good run. There were some years where Aaron Brooks said, hey, man, you may be able to win a playoff game or two with Aaron Brooks. That's a good NFL career. 5 years as a starter? Now, the floor or a career backup, a Chase Daniel type, if he gets his attitude together and if some of the distraction moves away from him. He'll be a career backup in this league. But there's no one with a brain, no one who's trying to be honest, who thinks they saw anything on Friday night that said, oh, yeah, Shedeur Sanders, he's the best player in this year's draft, or he's the best quarterback in this year's draft. Or oh, I can't believe he was drafted in the 5th round. Guys like Shedeur Sanders get drafted in the 5th round all the time, every single year. White, black, whatever. Dak Prescott, where'd he go, in the 4th round? He hasn't shown me at this point that he's Dak Prescott. All right, we'll bring in Steve Kim, get his take on this.
Stephanie White was under contract for the Connecticut Sun for this year. She cried her way out. They let her out due to her saying she basically wasn't thinking about coaching again. And this is why I feel like she's a DEI hire, because where do they let you out of your contract and then a week later you sign with a rival team? Where do they do that at, Jason? Have you ever seen that done before? I'm just curious.
Not only a rival team, but you get to quit your team and then basically you get the best job in the WNBA. You get to go coach and play in front of 16,000, 17,000 people every night and develop, cultivate the biggest star in the history of the WNBA. Yeah, it makes no sense unless you had a plan of, hey, look, we got to get Caitlin Clark on board with the movement, with the message. This is a platform to promote the LGBTQ. This is a platform to promote the victimization of black women. This is a platform to promote feminism. And Caitlin Clark, really, if you just look at her, she wants to hoop, she wants to go to Taylor Swift concerts, and that's about it.
모두 다 빨리 박수 쳐 기다리지 말고 서둘러 Reason that I'm back is to feed you raps I see that you are 배불러 So
Steve Kim, is Shedeur Sanders the second coming of Peyton Manning based off of what we saw Friday?
He's Tan Marino. I've heard that they're going to put his name on the Ring of Honor in Cleveland right next to Bernie Kosar, Bernie Sipe, Brian Sipe, Jim Brown, Ozzie Newsome, and I think that is highly disrespectful. He already needs to have his Boston Canton, fit him for the yellow jacket. In fact, you know what? Let's redo the Hall of Fame game and just get Shedeur to do the speech right now. It's going to be great. We don't know how long the father's going to be there. You just never know. Wishing him the best. But, Jason, what did I tell you on a serious note about 4 months ago? Shedeur Sanders is the story of the NFL preseason and August. And I was fixated to my television screen, and I think a lot of the reactions, quite frankly, Jason, are we really surprised by any of this?
We're not, but I didn't think people were so hard up and desperate for content that they would go this far this early. And that's the only justification I can think of is just like they're desperate for content and traction. And so they're just, he had a good game. I'm not going to waste this moment. He could have a bad game the next time. And so I have to run out here and pretend like I just saw, the greatest quarterback prospect in the history of football.
Yeah. Look, it's not just enough to say, you know what? He's better than Spurgeon Wynn. Because a lot of what these people who are, you know what they're looking for? Acceptance. They really are, especially Skip Bayless. And obviously, I'm biased because everyone knows the Rookie of the Year is already Cam Ward. You might as well engrave his name on the trophy. But when he said, this guy should have been the #1 pick, he was the best quarterback in the draft. And I'm thinking, I think it's okay just to say he had a good start, it was solid, and he showed that, look, he's going to compete. I really think the story is, and I tweeted this on Friday, Jason, I wonder what Dylan Gabriel's future is. It was my opinion that I thought he was overdrafted in the 3rd. I think his style of play and his arm strength limits him. Okay, now we got to see what he can do. He was injured. He wasn't really eligible to play. But you see this level of pandering where it's not just acceptable to say, you know what, that's a good start. You have to anoint him into the Hall of Fame or you're not going to be invited to the cookout. There's a reality to this. And even the Browns announcers. Now, look, this is the reality of a lot of these NFL preseason games. The announcing crews are basically homers. That's what they're supposed to do. I'm not ripping them, but when you see them with polos with the team logos on, they're going to call this game a certain way. I accept that. It's fine. A lot of them do a great job. But it was noticeable to me, Jason, and I saw your tweet on Friday night. It's like, it's not okay just say, good, solid decision, nice pass. These guys were incredibly effusive, saying, my God, the way he read that play was, I've never seen anything. I'm just like, guys, that is a play that is made 1,000 times every single season. And I just telling you, after the game, there was footage of Shedeur confronting, I think his name is Tony Grossi, who's been pretty critical. Some would say just being honest. And it captured this moment where Shedeur is looking for praise or looking for his acceptance. Nobody, especially if they are not black, and especially if they're white, they don't want to be the target of that.
Well, the thing I noticed about the broadcast, and I think it was Joe Thomas, and I can't remember who the play-by-play guy was, but they're certainly bent over backwards selling Shedeur Sanders and avoiding any discussion of like, Shedeur booted out, and there was a simple 3rd down pass to a wide-open receiver that he overthrew. And it was like, that's a red flag, that you can't miss someone that wide open. The deep ball he threw along the sidelines was way out of bounds. Receiver had no shot at it. There was a play over the middle that could have very easily been intercepted. No discussion of his mistakes. Anything that he did well was accentuated and talked about. No legitimate analysis of what he did poorly because the red flags showed up. He got away with a couple of scrambles in that game that, trust me, will catch up to him. His drifting backwards in the pocket and beating the rush with his legs. Luckily he's playing the Carolina Panthers because if it's Aiden Hutchinson or some of these other great defensive players, he's not going to get away with what he got away with in that first preseason game. None of that was discussed. And so I'm telling you, I saw something there in Shedeur that says, yeah, he makes sense in the NFL. I always thought he made sense in the NFL. He could potentially, in my view, ascend to a starter in some organization, no different than Dak Prescott or Aaron Brooks, or, he's not going to be Tom Brady, but any of these guys that get drafted late that play above their draft status, he has that opportunity because Steve, I think everybody agrees, had he handled the pre-draft process well, again, a mistake no one wants to talk about, he would have been a late first round, second round, or a high third round draft pick. He blew the pre-draft process with his attitude and entitlement and behavior. And instead of some racist plot, it was like, hey, man, don't carry yourself like you're Offset from some rap group. Carry yourself like a NFL quarterback does, and you maybe would have went in the first round. Everybody knows this, but no one wants to talk about it.
Yeah, that's the elephant in the room. You're not allowed to talk about or broach that there's a reason why. The other thing is, Jason, I noticed, purely, again, this is just my observation, he doesn't have a great NFL arm. I think he has really good touch, really good accuracy, but the lack of zip on certain throws against frontline defenses, I think is going to be an issue. I thought he nearly threw some hospital balls out there. And again, it's first game. That's all we can really judge it on. But I cannot lie. Whenever the Browns play again, I'll be in front of my television set. I think it is by far the most intriguing story of this whole NFL preseason 2025.
I'll certainly watch again preseason. I think it's hard to evaluate. I think the hardest position to evaluate in the preseason is the quarterback position. It just is. You can evaluate a pass rusher, a corner, a running back. I think you can evaluate in the preseason. Quarterback, I don't think teams don't want to give away too much in terms of blitzes and in terms of defensive packaging. It's very vanilla out there, and so it's just hard to evaluate. And when I read what Mary Kay Cabot wrote about what they're dealing with, the way they put training wheels on Shedeur and trying to teach him how to identify and adjust play call, you can't evaluate him until he plays in a regular season game against live bullets.
Oh, my God. Poor Mary Kay. The emails and DMs she must be getting. It reminded me, I think I've told you this, but I remember about 5-6 years ago, I said a tweet. I said, when Lamar Jackson, if and when he evolves, he's going to be really good. And the usual suspects, what do you mean by evolve? And I just said, look, buddy, go to the Webster's Dictionary, look up the word, and I blocked them. There are certain people, they're just going to react a certain way. And unfortunately, a lot of people pander towards them. So, Jason, now that I've gotten you on board, that Shedeur is actually pretty fascinating watch, and that he gives us a lot to talk about, and it is a story. I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to be as deadly honest as you can be, which is as deadly as honest as anyone can be. If it came down at the same time, the return of Caitlin Clark, Shedeur Sanders, and they start right around the same time, where's your television at? What station?
Not even a debate. It's not even a debate.
Shedeur.
No.
Shedeur. What? Oh!
No.
Wow.
No.
What?
No.
You know we only get 3 preseason games now, Jason. Really? We get 50 whatever games of W. Oh, come on, really? Oh my God.
It's not even. Caitlin Clark is in that rarefied Tiger Woods air. It didn't matter what was on. It didn't matter what football was on, what basketball. If Tiger Woods was on, my TV's on Tiger Woods. Caitlin Clark is right there. There's very few things that I will adjust my schedule for. Tiger Woods and Caitlin Clark. That's it. The NFL doesn't do that for me. And
that is scary.
Shedeur Sanders certainly doesn't. Yeah,
that is
certainly
scary.
doesn't. I want to move.
Yeah.
Steve,
Let's move on.
I want to
please.
move on to Bill Belichick and Jordon Hudson. She's back in the news again. Jordon Hudson is. I think this podcast is called the Sports Gossip Show or something like that. It's hosted by what appears to be two 30-something white girls. It's not my cup of tea, but it's clearly Jordon Hudson's cup of tea, because this podcast, I think, has maybe 8,000 subscribers or something like that. But Jordon Hudson reached out to these two young ladies because these young ladies have been talking about Bill Belichick and Jordon Hudson. Let me see. And they didn't have the greatest things to say about Jordon Hudson. Let me see if I can give us some context here, because it was tough listening to their podcast because they don't speak in complete thoughts, just keeping it real, not trying to beat them up. But Jordon Hudson reached out to these women had a phone conversation with them. They thought they were going to land an interview with Jordon Hudson. Didn't. Anyway, let's play shot number 7 of them talking about Jordon Hudson and some demands she may have made. Let's play the clip.
She wants to know why we said that her competing in the Miss Maine pageant would take away the platform and resources from someone else competing in the pageant who needs them more. There's like a whole package of, pageant training and all
photo shoots, beauty treatments.
Yeah.
If you won the pageant.
And also, the title of Miss Maine, and I think it's not an opinion. Jordon is more famous than Miss Maine could ever make anybody.
Absolutely.
She wanted to know why we said that. She also wanted to know why we said that we felt that it was her and Bill against the world. And she also wanted to know why we didn't report that the winner of the Miss Maine pageant, a woman named Shelby, was not actually from Maine.
Yeah.
Which we did report in the following episode. I looked into it, found out that Shelby was actually from San Diego.
Wow.
So that's interesting. Here's Jordon Hudson, though, or them talking about Jordon Hudson. Their contention that Jordon Hudson compares herself to Taylor Swift's publicist, that she does for Bill Belichick what Taylor Swift's publicist does for Taylor Swift. Play shot number 8.
She also loved that we had said that she is Bill Belichick's Tree Payne. Tree Payne is Taylor Swift's redheaded publicist.
Yeah.
She said, I love that you said that I'm like Bill's Tree Payne because I am.
Which, iconic. And you know what? She is. I still stand by that.
And she said everybody loved Bill's media presence before they found out I was behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I hear that, and Jordon Hudson desperately wants to be important and valuable beyond the bedroom, as any woman probably has that desire. But she's made a mistake here as it relates to Bill Belichick. He's in the football lane. She's not been in the football lane. She's 24. He's in his 70s. It's going to be very difficult for her to be valuable beyond the bedroom when, he's 73 and you're 24. You don't have any particular insight into football. His whole life has been built around football. Her reaching out to this podcast and then not giving them the interview, but now giving them content to talk about her is just another mistake that she has made and that Bill is making by allowing a 24-year-old to have that much access to his life and to have that much freedom to try to build up her own resume and satisfy her own ego. He's got a child in a grown woman's role. This is just another bad look for Bill. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think tomorrow we need to do a full episode and get to the bottom of the controversy of Miss Maine. That is fascinating, right? Jason, if there was a Patriot player during that dynastic run for 20 years who had, let's say, any good player, any role, any magnitude, had a wife calling into sports talk shows talking about my husband doesn't get enough credit, and just bitched and moaned about his contract, his playing time, the respect for Bill Belichick. Wouldn't everyone say you're going against the Patriot Belichick way and it's about the team and you're being a distraction? That's the irony of all this, that Mr. Belichick Patriot way is now with somebody. Now, look, we talked about this story about, 3.5, 4 months ago, and it was a distraction. And now, the last few months, I told you about a week or two ago, hey, everyone's focused in on football now. It's over. It was something we talked about. It's in the rearview mirror. And to have this happen right during the middle of fall camp, this young lady, Miss Hudson, has no self-awareness. She does not really care about Belichick. And by the way, UNC is preparing for, I think, a pretty tough game at TCU. I like that Horned Frogs team. They have an NFL quarterback in Josh Hoover, and I think it's a very important game. But she cares about her. Think about, I'm not saying that significant others of football coaches do not play a role, like with Nick Saban. His wife, Miss Terry, unbelievable football wife. He will tell you she played a role, but everything she did was for the Crimson Tide and Nick Saban. Really, it's never about herself. But when Bill Belichick is snuggling with his little Boo Bear, guess what? She could say anything she wants, and old Belichick will just say, well, okay, if you want to do that, go ahead. Go ahead, do what you want. Can you go back down there again? Oh, that feels... That's what's taking place, Jace. I know that was graphic, but that's what's taking place. Come on. We've all been there. You do that again. Oh, my God.
Is.
Oh, yeah, just... Sick.
That is what's taking place. I don't blame a 24-year-old for trying to figure out who she is and how she fits into her professional life, and just I do think she cares about Bill Belichick, but
really
they're so unequally. Yeah, I think they're so unequally yoked. Yes, I think she.
Jason,
I do
think she cares about what this relationship can do for her. If she really cared about Bill Belichick, she would be never seen or never heard at this point in time.
Here's where I disagree. It's like when you're dealing with young people, they don't know how to be loyal. They don't know the depths. They don't know how you have to put yourself in position to be loyal. Everybody, I'm loyal, blah, blah. But have you put yourself in position to be loyal? She doesn't know what she doesn't know because she's 24, and she needs to be trying to figure out life with someone who's between the ages of 20 and 35, who's also young, who has the time to pour all that energy into her and help her figure it out. Instead, she's married or in a relationship with a 73-year-old man who's got a football program to run, who again, is just like, he doesn't have time to nurture and develop her fully and shouldn't even be trying. I blame Belichick far more than I do this woman. Far more. He's got a child playing a grown woman's position, and she's making a mess, and it's not an unexpected mess. Look, we just went through it with Shannon Sharp, where people are like, hey, man, Shannon, I get it, but you gave this 21-year-old all this access, and you're wondering why you got burned?
But, Jason, Shannon Sharp never espoused to be Mr. Discipline. There was never a sharp way. Okay, one of my favorite stories involved a former Miami Hurricane. Brandon Merriweather was a very good player at Miami, All-American, gets drafted on. I think the 2007 year was his rookie year, the year they went undefeated till the Super Bowl. Brandon Merriweather was a rookie, didn't have a lot to say all the time. And there was this particular week where some reporter asked him, well, what do you think about this opposing quarterback? And Brandon Merriweather gave the standard garden variety. Well, he's dangerous and he's good, and we respect him. We're going to play hard. We just have to be prepared. He said nothing outlandish. And the story goes that Belichick in a team meeting goes, hey, Merriweather, you're a rookie. Who the are you? Just shoot him out. Meanwhile, his other, right now, Miss Jordon Hudson is doing all this, and so it's okay. And there's a hypocrisy to this. There is no hypocrisy to Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp's going to do him. He's been doing him, okay, to his detriment. But he's not a hypocrite.
That is true. That is true. I'm done with Belichick. I've got myself in enough trouble.
Miss Maine tomorrow,
I
though.
Trust.
Maine tomorrow.
Yeah, I there's not a man that I know that can't relate to Bill Belichick's feelings here, but at some point you got to hit the eject button, Bill. You're doing the young woman a disservice. He's certainly doing himself a disservice, and eventually it's going to undermine him as the football coach of the University of North Carolina, which means he's doing those 90 young men that he's coaching a disservice. Steve, thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Great job as always. Before I move on to As the WNBA Turns, I want to remind you all, or not remind you, I want to tell you all about, remember those T-shirts I was promising you 2-3 weeks ago? Well, they're finally here. They're finally available. It's about paying fans respect. You can go to fearlessmission.com. The T-shirts are beautiful. They're wonderful. Listen, there is a demographic in sports that is being disrespected. And it's not the owners. It's not the players. It's not the coaches. It's not the media. It's you. You're being disrespected, taken for granted. No one looks out for fans. We are the forgotten lot. And the whole apparatus, the whole system, the whole circus that they built that rewards them was supposed to reward us. There was supposed to be something in it for us. You can't convince me that the entertainment quality is as good as it used to be. The players, the athletes treat us like pariahs. All we get is whining about, hey, what we're old. The WNBA players pay us what we're old. Fans, pay us respect. And we have to demand it ourselves. Nothing does it better than these T-shirts. On the front, they say pay fans respect. On the back, if you want, you can just get T-shirts with just pay fans respect on the front. You can also get the T-shirt with the 10 fan commandments on the back. For some of you that like to, are a little bit afraid to be completely out there, I suggest to you, you get the shirts that just say pay fans respect on the front. You don't have to have the 10 fan commandments. For those of you that like me, that like to live on the edge and don't mind being politically incorrect, get the shirts with front and back. Go to fearlessmission.com right now. Get your pay fans respect T-shirts. Some of you that emailed me, I owe you T-shirts. I'm going to start mailing those out, I believe, later this week when we get a shipment here into Nashville. But you can go to fearlessmission.com, get your pay fans respect. Would love to see some of you showing up at sporting events demanding your respect. When we come back, I got a little As the WNBA Turns with a pretty provocative take on Angel Reese. Next. I've struggled with my health and weight loss most of my life, feeling sore, low energy, and having a hard time staying mentally sharp. But Relief Factor, it's changed all of that. I feel better, I move better, I think better. It's been a real transformation. And here's the thing, it's only $20 to try. If Relief Factor works for me, and I'm no easy case, it can work for anyone. Don't wait, call 1-800-4RELIEF or visit relieffactor.com. Be sure to visit and subscribe to Jason Whitlock Harmony on YouTube. I'm diving into politics and entertainment with a unique biblical perspective, distinct from Fearless, and hosting interviews with a range of guests. Share the word, and thanks for tuning in.
As the WNBA Turns, starring Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Asia Wilson. Brought to you by George Soros, Adam Silver, Kathy Engelbert, and the Global Elite.
All right, welcome back. I have a take on Angel Reese that I'm sure will trigger a bunch of people, but I think Angel Reese, and I'm saying this with my chest out, I think she's quit on the Chicago Sky. She's been claiming a back injury basically since the All-Star break. And there's no details. Every day we hear that Angel Reese is day to day. And every week there's no update on what she's struggling with, what she's doing. There's nothing. There's no information about Angel Reese. I think she's quit on this season. I think this is a worse version than Kawhi Leonard. I think she's using her back as an excuse to sit out because she doesn't really care about basketball. I think she looks over at Caitlin Clark and says, hey, Caitlin Clark is out with a legitimate injury. I proved my point before the All-Star game when I went on a 10-game run trying to justify being on the All-Star team. When that first ballot came out, when the first voting results came out about the All-Star game, and I was 13th, holy cow, Angel Reese panicked, started playing hard, tried to put up some stats to justify being on the All-Star team, did that, and now she said, hey, the Chicago Sky sucked this year, peace out. No one's going to call her out on that. I came to this conclusion this weekend when I watched the Indiana Fever destroy the Chicago Sky in Indianapolis on Saturday. Guess who wasn't there? Angel Reese. Angel Reese declined to travel to Indianapolis, and her coach came out and said something about, you know, she's just focused on her rehab right now, and, you know, she's day to day. We've never had an explanation on what caused the back injury, what's a time frame for her recovery. It's similar to so-and-so's back injury. This is something she struggled with here or there. All we've heard is day-to-day, and Angel Reese has disappeared. She knew, she identified once they lost Vandersloot, their point guard, early in the year, and once they started getting their brains beat in, hey, we're not going to win anything this year. I'm not putting these L's on my resume. I'm going to have an excuse for the Chicago Sky potentially coming in with the worst or second worst record in the WNBA. These losses will not be on my resume. It'll actually, in her mind and in some of these Twitter groupies that post about her, this is proof of how valuable Angel Reese is. The Chicago Sky are 1-10 in games Angel Reese doesn't play. What they do not understand is that coaches, and I know the WNBA in some regards isn't a real sports league, and I don't know if they think like real coaches and real people in sports, but the number one ability is availability. If you're not available, you have no value. And so you can sit there and say, well, the same applies to Caitlin Clark. Yes, it does. But Caitlin Clark appears to have a legitimate injury that everybody can trace to a moment and a time during the games where she re-aggravated. She originally injured. She had a comeback where it lasted 2 or 3 games, re-injured it. They've hinted at a time frame of late August that she may return. Nothing but a mystery surrounds Angel Reese. Angel Reese has taken this season off to focus on her off-court endeavors and to avoid these losses that the Chicago Sky are accumulating, to avoid them appearing on her resume. Angel Reese doesn't really care about basketball. There are people that play sports, football, basketball, baseball, soccer, whatever, because they have the talent, because they have the requisite physical gifts. Angel Reese is 6'3". What else was she going to do but play a sport? And so she plays the sport because at 6'3", why shouldn't she? She has the athleticism to play, but does she really love this game? I don't think so. And anybody that actually follows sports, and I know this will trigger, irritate, or Ryan Clark will ignore it, but trust me, he'll hear about it and say, it's just Shaq will be upset. How dare someone question Angel Reese? But any of these guys that have played sports at a real level and been a competitor, like a Ryan Clark, because he was a competitor, someone just, I got a backache and I'm sitting out and I'm day to day without any explanation. Someone who is so bothered by Caitlin Clark's popularity and that fan base in Indiana, nah, I'm good. I'm rivals with Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, but I'm going to tap out. I'm not going to take the hour-and-a-half, 2-hour bus ride or 30-minute flight to Indianapolis and accompany my team as they go to war against my so-called rival. I'm not going to return to the city that I was there 2-3 weeks ago during the All-Star festivities, and I was running around with Reebok creating the myth that I took over Caitlin Clark's trap. Remember that? I took over Caitlin Clark's trap. Now I won't even travel there for a regular season game. I have nothing to offer my teammates. I have nothing to offer fans. Caitlin Clark has been injured without abandoning her team or teammates or the fans that show up at arenas, not just in Indianapolis, but on road games, just to get a glimpse, just to get a potential autograph, just to be in the same building with Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese and her groupies pretend as if she's one half of this Caitlin Clark-Angel Reese rivalry. But no, I'm not going to travel to Indianapolis. Their fans are racist, or I'm going to focus on my rehab. Angel Reese has laid down and quit on the sky this season. She'll be back next year. Now look, at some point, she may return this season. But this unexplained absence, this unexplained injury doesn't fly with me. It shouldn't fly with anybody with a brain. When have we ever seen this? Superstar player, allegedly? Mysterious injury, no explanation, no timetable, day to day, a coach that doesn't even know how to talk about it. Angel Reese doesn't care about the Chicago Sky or the WNBA. She cares about what the Chicago Sky and the WNBA can do for her. And right now, with the Sky losing, it can't do anything for her brand. So she's in brand protection mode and brand building mode and has distanced herself from the Chicago Sky and her teammates. Angel Reese is toxic. You cannot build a consistent winning environment around Angel Reese at the professional ranks. In college, women's basketball is so concentrated among UConn, Stanford, South Carolina, LSU, now that they got Kim Mulkey, that, yeah, Angel Reese can be a part of a championship LSU team. But Angel Reese, a consistent winner at the pro level, not going to happen. She doesn't love the game enough. She loves what the game can do for her. That's As the WNBA Turns for today. That's Fearless for today. We'll play tomorrow. Uh-oh. Don't forget to join me over at the Harmony Channel. Me, Delano, and Shamika will be talking about David Justice, the former Major League Baseball star, and Halle Berry. We'll play tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow.
Waiting for the countdown, coming off the breakdown, standing in line for freedom. Looking for a breakout, feeling like a standoff, nothing in life like freedom. Came in like a fighter, striking like a ladder, making all those moves for freedom. I want freedom. No nation, my sister, no relation. We all just wanna have freedom. Sitting on a corner, never been alone. I'm breaking my back for freedom. Blessed, we are living, get back. We are receiving, no deceiving. We all wanna be free. We want freedom.